Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI Club's GBM number six, I believe. Five. Something. I think it's five. I think it's five. Yeah. But yeah. But this one's gonna be on the principles of vibe coding by our lovely president, Souroush. And I'll let him take it away. I'll put the computer close to you guys so you guys can hear. But yeah, you guys enjoy.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Jason. All right. Hello, welcome in. Thanks for joining. Okay, so let's get started with this. So this is our table of content. I'm going to talk about a few main points, mainly revolving around how you should prompt and should work with your AI model in parallel to make it do the work the way you need it to. And we're going to talk about some of the flaws, some of the issues. What is vibe coding in general? Can everyone vibe code? What is the tech stack, software requirements, version control, references and documentation, when things go wrong? And at the end, we're going to talk about learning, because that is, I think, the most important part of vibe coding. Now, what is vibe coding? Vibe coding is a loosely defined term right now in the industry. Defines when someone uses AI to generate code instead of writing it themselves. And it has been on a rise because of because it gives everybody this power or this feeling of powerfulness that, hey, I can build this, I can make this application myself, I can do that, I can do this. And it usually works for single use applications, for smaller applications that you're trying to do for your own, for companies. It usually really works well. However, there's a distinct difference between someone who vibe codes and vibe engineers. Now, that is another loosely defined term, but point is, if you do your research properly and then you prompt and use your AI properly for vibing, you can get a good result, no matter how big the scale of your project is. But if you don't, just say, "Hey, let's make this shit. Let's create a game that is the best thing ever." Bruh. It will hallucinate so quickly, you guys will be like, "Brother, who am I talking to? Why are these companies so large in evaluation?" And I'm going to talk about, is everybody able to vibe code as we get to it? So, just like a wise Walter White once said, I am the danger. Getting stuck in the vibes is really dangerous because vibe coding gives you this illusion that you can do significantly more. And you have more power because you can talk to it the same way you do to a peer, to a friend, to a classmate. But if it's not done properly, as I said before, it will almost always fail you at some point. And if you're doing it just for the vibes, that's fine. That's fine. But I think we are all in this industry for a reason. We're trying to get this computer science, computer engineering degree for a reason. And rather than seeing it as a threat, let's use it to our advantage and see how it goes. I also have a couple memes for you again. Vibe coding startup. It's pretty much like that. And then vibe coding is fun, but vibe debugging isn't. All right. So let's talk about tech stack. Okay. So has anybody done vibe coding here before? You have. Okay, what's your tech stack that you use for a web app, for example? If you're trying to create a web app with Claude, for example, Codex, what do you use? Do you use Next.js for it? Do you use what's the stack you tell it to make for you? Or do you let it decide? You let it decide. Sweet. Okay. So you have a little bit of like defined mechanism that you stick with, correct? Winston, do you have one? Okay, okay, sounds good. Do you have one, Mometa? Okay. Sounds good. So when we talk about this, so why is it important? Why do I ask this question? Is because when you try to get into vibe coding, a lot of tutorials, a lot of documentation will tell you, oh, make sure you say what you want to use in the beginning, because if you don't, it will hallucinate very quickly. Or if it decides by itself, it might not meet the requirements you want. Asterisk there, I'll get back to it. Uh, but what also matters is when you are creating these applications, you have to use um, the stack that has enough code bases in the internet. Because essentially, large language models scrape the internet for their knowledge, right? So it is important to understand what is your requirements for the things you need. For example, if you're going to make a phone app, know what works for you best. If you want to use Flutter or if you want to use React Native, which one is better? React Native is better if you're trying to extend it to a web application later as well, but Flutter is better in every single other way, I would say. Um, for the backend, if you use Fast API, it is going to be on Python, but it gives you a flexibility that Express.js, for example, doesn't. Um, because you can hook it up to AI models and AI libraries, machine learning, much, much simpler. So there's 6 steps that I put here. Familiarize yourself with your space. Understand each of the frameworks, what each of the frameworks has to offer. Pick the popular ones that would be functional for your application. Eliminate the ones that do not meet your standards. Define your tech stack. Go at it. Now, by saying this, I do not mean that this is it. You only can vibe code with popular stuff. That's not true. If you see this post over here from Crafty Mech on good old Reddit, you can see incremental steps is the key. And you can get to whatever niche you are aiming for. Claude Code out of the box doesn't know how to wrap 3D vines around Ionic column. But with a few intermediate steps along the way, not bad results. Yeah, can we agree? That's pretty decent, honestly, for something that does not know. So ultimately, it comes to the fact that it isn't not capable, but it is how you define your stack. How do you give it the information for it to understand these stuff? So that takes us to the software requirements. Does everyone here know about SRS or software requirement specification documents? No? Okay. So I encourage you guys to scan this QR code and read about it. This is the standard in the industry for the past, I guess, at least 20, 25 years. I've seen it for a long time. And the idea bit behind SRS is to define not only the functional requirements, the non-functional, you define what your use cases are, define everything revolving your app that gives you the ability as a team to proceed and create. So we all use AI on our daily lives, and we've also all seen people vague post. Has anybody seen vague posting memes online on like X or Reddit, or like people just say a sentence, no correlation to nothing, no context, no nothing. What matters the most is context. You're working with context-oriented AI models. So requirements that you give it have to be clear from the get-go. You create a template or find one online that fits your requirements. Use that template to define every specific requirement of your application before trying to have AI understand what you want. Because if you don't understand what you want, how's AI going to? AI is a yes man at the end of the day. They're trained by reinforcement, right? So apart from that, another thing is if you rush it, you're going to kill the vibe. Rushing it and not doing your software requirement specification properly will make your AI go at the problem or tackle the problem very quickly, and it will create you something really good in the beginning. Sweet, nice, it works. But then a little bit after you say, oh, this thing that you made on this little section doesn't work properly. I want to do this instead. It will hallucinate. It will not know what to do. It will mix it up with other things. Any questions so far? Anybody on Zoom? Questions? Sweet. Okay. All right. So let's talk about, let me move this. Okay. So I did include a example diagram down here that what is SRS by itself. So one of the main differences between humans and LLMs in programming, at least, is that when we don't understand requirements, we can't produce code. AI doesn't say no. If it doesn't understand, it will assume what works best and it will generate it anyway. And that is dangerous because if you don't monitor it, you're not going to get the output you want. Now, here is the SRS document example. It consists of 8 parts: introduction, purpose of the project, scope of the project and overview, general description, what are the functions, what is the user community, what is the user base, who are you targeting with this, functional requirements, possible outcomes, ranked order, input-output relationship. So that is what specific actions or behaviors must each part of the software perform. Then we have the interface requirements, which some people love, some people hate. There's nothing in between. User interface is really, really well balanced, I would say, because nobody is in the middle. It's either hate or love. Performance requirements. What's the response time you're looking for? What's the throughput? What's the scalability? Scalability. This is the most important part of all of it, for vibe coding at least. Because when you are creating the software yourself, you're in control and you can spend time creating what you need. But this scalability, if not defined properly, does not do well with AI models. Now we have the non-functional attributes: usability, reliability, and security, schedule and budget, and appendix. Those are the 8 main parts of SRS. And let's talk about version control. Who knows about version control? Everybody. Okay, sweet. What's your favorite way to control versions? GitHub, GitLab. What do you guys use? GitHub, 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 GitHub. Yes, we're all GitHub people here, but it's the industry standard, you know. But there are alternatives to it as well. Now, the reason I bring up version control is there are 2 ways to handle this. One being having your vibe coder, which can be anything. It can be Cursor, it can be Claude Code, it can be Codex, it can be what is there? Oh, anti-gravity from Google. Whatever the case is, Copilot, all of these pieces of software are great if you know how to use them properly. And a lot of them do have version control built in, or Replit even. And what they do essentially is, besides doing the git add, git commit to have commit history of every little change that happens on the repository, they also do checkpoints. So it's really, really important for you to have or save the functional part of your application. Save the progress. Because if anything goes south in the next build, no, in 10 builds from there, you have a point to lay on. You can go back and be like, okay, let's go back, start over from this point. Because you don't want to start the software all over again every time. Fair enough. Any questions so far? Okay. And also get them green lights while you're at it. Have it push for you on GitHub and get your leaderboard, like the little, what is it called? The commit history chart,
Yeah,
whatever.
history, yeah.
Yeah, contribution,
There you go.
contribution chart. Have the green lights. It's cool to have green lights. Don't get overly obsessed. Any questions so far before we jump into documentation? No, no. Okay, sweet. So this, in my opinion, is going to be what everybody lacks, what the average vibe coder lacks in. And it is because a lot of times you want to create something and when you want AI to create it for you, what you do is you give it, what's the correct word? You give it links to documentation. Oh, hey, this is the link to the API for that piece of software. Read it and make the script. Sure, sometimes it works for more popular things. Like if you try to hook up email.js, have anybody used email.js before? No. It's pretty much a library that you can API into and have your software send the email. It's really, really simple. And for that purpose, for example, it works flawlessly. It's pretty great. However, when you get a little bit more technical, if you're using a library like for a specific type of camera, for a specific type of hardware, for a specific type of um, what's the correct word? Uh, let's say enterprise level application even. It will fail because there's not a lot of code online for it. So again, if you're working with third party libraries and integrations, having code samples that are proven to work will help you immensely, because using these documentation links and references is not enough. Don't make that mistake. With well-made documentation, you can eliminate the need to debug for hours. A lot of time we spent vibe coding is for debugging. It's not for creation. Even in programming, it's the same thing. But when you're doing it, you know the context. When AI is doing it, sometimes the context gets lost. When the context is lost, documentation matters the most. So always, for the pieces of software that have proprietary backends, have your own documentation. Make code samples for it, test it out, and then give that to your AI. And so, what was the, okay. So, is this the, yes, yes, sorry, my bad, my bad. I thought I made a slide mistake. Yeah, everybody has great ideas. AI can definitely help you turn them into reality by meeting your specific requirements. But engineering is think of it this way. Think of it this way. Would you rather take your car to a mechanic to diagnose that has been working for 30 years? Or do you want to just look at it yourself and try to figure it out? You would rather have a mechanic look at it, right? Unless you want to learn. But that's a separate story. It's a separate story. In an ideal world, you want, like, if money is not a problem, if you don't have a passion for it, you will take it to a mechanic to make sure they know what is going on. Now, I have two examples here for you guys to see. How does this dashboard look to you guys? It's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. But in my opinion, my personal opinion, try Gemini, try Codex, try Claude Code, try any model on Cursor. All of them, without a doubt, will generate something like this. Every piece of software you have them right will generate something like this. What will that cause? What's the problem with that? Yeah, if you're making something for yourself, sure, it's fine, whatever. But when it comes to applications that you're trying to ship, to sell, to produce for a company you're working in, uh, I don't like that. You have to have a design sense, even if you're not the best in front end. I'm not the best in front end. It's my weakest link out of all the stack. My front end design is absolutely the worst. And I hate design work. I hate it. Um, I don't have a sense for design, unfortunately, and it frustrates me. And I really, really envy people who have a good eye for design. Um, but I can't do it. I really can't do it. Um, but with a little bit of tweaking and knowing what to do, this is what you will get. Now, doesn't that look nicer? What's the tweaking here? What did I change? Did I just tell it to use a different design? No. What I did for this was, um, I will show you the example. I think it's on my laptop. I forgot to put it on the slides, but I created documents for every design principle that I liked for my AIs to create. So for example, I have this editorial, like dark, earthy tone, the rustic orange type of thing with the bold fonts and different, like very, very, very newspaper-like fonts to make a very unique looking dashboard. And this has gotten way more compliments than the other dashboard, right? So even with this, even with this, I had AI create this template for me. I just fed it what I had as design principles, as books, as articles, as what instructions it should follow. And I had to generate a file, a markdown file that explains the design principle behind this dashboard. Now, every time I'm trying to create a dashboard for anything, I will feed it with this file as the documentation, and it will just make it for me like this. Well, that's for the design. That's for the design. We talked about the back end, but also in the real world, almost 90% of the actual stack, actual API calls, actual connections that you're building to other systems is not through the things we practice here in school. It's not the regular things people talk about on YouTube. It's not always the popular stuff. 90% of them are smaller companies, smaller startups that are trying to provide a good piece of software. And a lot of the bigger companies either charge more or they just don't provide it. So you have to be mindful of the documentation you create, even for the back end, because people say AI sucks at back end and it's so over for front end designers. That's not true. That's not true. Everything is about context. Everything is about the documentation, the explanation, and the context you feed your large language model. Okay. Now, going to a new chapter here. And before I go to the next slide, I want to talk about something. I said it in the beginning of when I walked in, we're in the golden age. This is our time to shine. This is probably the best software engineering has ever been. If we as humans know how to use our tools correctly. A lot of an issue that a a lot of people face is they need to be productive, and AI gives them that productivity. So they put in something in the chat, and then boom, 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 software created. Good, we're good to go. Sweet, awesome. But in reality, you're not learning from that. You're not taking into account on how to do that properly. So if anything breaks along the way, how are you going to fix it? Do you know what was done on your software by your AI, or do you just had it do it? That's the difference. At the beginning of this, I talked about, can everyone vibe code? Yes, everybody can vibe code. But that's where we come in as people who keep this job industry alive, per se. So by start fresh, by its new chapter, what I mean is hallucinations are going to happen regardless. Regardless, whatever you do, hallucinations are going to happen. Know how to export a summary of your chats, feed them into a new one. Start fresh. Every time you get to that limit of a chat, start over. It's fine. It's totally okay to do that. Because once you do it, if you do it too late, you might lose context. If you do it too early, you might not have enough context. There's a sweet spot that you need to find, but that comes with practice. You have to know what's the limit of each of the models you're using. Whether it is Opus, whether it is GPT 5.4, whether it is Gemini 3.1, whatever the case is, you have to know what's going on. So that's that. A lot. I forgot. Do you really think it would do that? Just hallucinate and lie? Do you guys really think it would do that?
Yes.
No, that's not true. AIs are best buddies. Yeah, they're always correct. And yeah, last, I would say be in charge. The best vibe coders are not the most creative ones. They're the most technical and understanding of the baseline of computer science. Don't forget your principles. Everybody can vibe code, but the difference between you as a student, as a senior, as a junior, as a sophomore, as a freshman in computer science, as someone who's taking these classes, learning in depth what it is like to be a programmer, what goes on with a computer, what the hell's with these pieces of machines, pieces of fiberglass and metal and sparks and electricity. What's going on with them? How do they work? You know them better than the average Joe. And that is your superpower here. Everybody can create, but can everyone create good? That's the question. You still need to understand the principles of programming, computer science, and the product you're trying to ship. Otherwise, you will get stuck. And that's where a lot of vibe coders fail. To survive in this field, you have to accept that AI is better than a regular programmer. Accept that, guys. Don't fight it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally okay. But a AI-enabled computer scientist will be unstoppable. And lastly, learn. Don't just ship. What AI does to us is, because of the productivity it brings, we kind of lose the sense of trying to learn. We are like, okay, it works. Let's just go for it. Okay, it works. Ship it, works, ship it, works, ship it. But what if an issue that you were facing happens one more time in like a month or two? How are you going to debug that? How are you going to know what to tell the AI? You have to learn from. Again, they are better programmers than us, for the most part. Uh, but you have to be in charge. You have to learn what it has to offer, what it scrapes from the internet, from actual humans, and is applying to your application. And that is it for the presentation part of this GBM. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, enjoy vibing. Thank you guys.
Yes. Had a real quick question
Hit
though.
me.
Okay, so let's say I'm somebody that wants to start using an SRS template
Right.
for my project that I want to build. Where can I grab already pre-built SRS template
Okay.
and modify it so that I can use it for my project?
Okay. So Geeks for Geeks has one. University of
Okay.
Texas has one publicly available, I believe. Um, and you can search in the internet because it's a practice that we learn here in the school on the
Mhm.
like higher division senior projects. But then also it is a principle that is practiced in the industry actually. So before you start making, you have to have a specification document, regardless of the size of the company. If you do not, your project will most likely fail unless it is a small scope.
Thank you.
Questions? Hit me. Yes. That's a great question. So there are a few ways to handle this. Yeah. One is, as you said, have it as you're making it make checkpoints, have it write a markdown file for every one of the checkpoints. So you have a understanding of like, oh, this is the whole SRS, or have it update your SRS, right? Have it because there's two things. There is SRS and there is what was it? Develop devlogs per se. So have it write devlogs. Um, have it write it in one file even and have a giant devlog. When you give the new chat the repository, give it the devlog as well and tell it where it has begun, where it has landed, what's going on. You can make this as detailed as you want or as small as you want, minimal as you want. The more context, the better, obviously. But I will refer you to our prompt engineering. Um, was it a workshop or GBM?
GBM.
GBM. Uh, for more information on that, because a lot of the things that you would need to ask it would lay within the principles that we talked about for prompt engineering. But yeah, either way would work. Have it write a file, have it do it on the commit list, commit history description, or yeah, that's it. Let's see.
Nothing from the chat.
Sweet. Does anyone in the chat have any questions? Perhaps hit me with your beautiful questions. Give me hard ones.
Okay. Oh, oh,
Is so vibe coding is for more for ideas rather than finalizing a project. Not necessarily true, actually. Um, no, no. So it is better that, okay, so it is better in kicking off a project than it is in finishing a project, usually, but that is because of the way we use it. That's not because of vibe coding. Because again, finishing a project inherently is a difficult thing to do. How many projects have we all started and not finished? Come on. let's be so for real here, right? Same, dude, genuinely. But the issue with all of those is that we lose interest or we lose the context when we get back to it. What was going on here? Now, assume an AI that you've been talking to for like 2 months, it will lose its sense. It will not understand what's going on. So it's not necessarily for starting the project, although I will say it is better than starting, but you can definitely use it for finishing a project. And I have proof applications that I've done that with. So it's totally doable. It's just the way you use it is the way you prompt it, is the way you interact with it. Hope that answers your question, Oliver. I want to show you guys. I do not think I have the prompt right now because the chat context expired. Unfortunately, Claude is not the best at keeping chat history, but I can show you what I had it create, and I will see. All right. So this is a markdown file. This is a different design principle that I am using. So this is, I'm going to walk you guys through it. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. A portable spec for every product built under the company name brand, based on Material 3 Expressive principles. So, does anyone know what Material 3 Expressive is? It's the design of Google. It's what they're using with the new versions of Android and their applications, the new Gmail app, the Google Photos, stuff like that. All of them are built on a principle called Material 3 Expressive or M3 Expressive. Let me change. I got to change this to light mode really quick because I forgot how to do that.
Actually, they switched to light mode.
Brother. Me neither, but like, oh, themes. Let's do just for the projector, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Sorry for the sorry for the blast, guys. I gave it the logo, I gave it the design principle I was going with, and not just, oh, go with Material 3 Expressive. I gave it a document, screenshots, and provided context for it to understand what Material 3 Expressive is as a whole. Uh, then it generated this philosophy, which pretty much rounded shapes, tonal color surfaces, spring physics motions, elevated containers, and apply it to data-heavy dashboards, tables, and forms. The result is software that feels modern and alive without sacrificing information density. And then the logo we can skip. It doesn't really matter. Let's see. System, color system. So we down here have it generated two surface systems for us, a light mode and a dark mode. Um, you can see different colors in the color palette. What's the surface? Surface container lowest, surface container low, surface container high, highest, surface variant, primary container, on primary, which is like what lays on top of a primary color, and stuff like that. And then dark mode, same situation. And we then have a color rules. So primary is violet. It carries all primary actions, active states, links, and focus indicators. Surfaces are tonal, not flat. Use the surface hierarchy lowest, low, base, high, highest to express elevation through color, not just shadow. And as you go through this, you can see it has different things for typography, different fonts, and generally the navigation rail. It contains everything you need as the specification for design of that website. So I am going to Okay, I'm not sharing this. Good. I'm gonna have a new chat in Claude generate something using this markdown file for me. How about that? And then I will show the results to you guys in a second. I have it downloaded. I do have it downloaded. What? Oh, how did it open then? Okay, there we go. All right, let me change my screen share really quick to Claude. Okay, you guys can see my Claude. Yes, okay. Use this. I'm gonna make it very simple for the sake of right now. Use this design principle. Make a sample dashboard. I would like to visualize this through web. Any requests on this?
You mean for like color or
Do you
like
guys want to see a specific piece of like dashboard or website that looks uses this design principle? Should we do like a school dashboard maybe? Yeah. Make a sample school dashboard. I'd like to visualize this through web. I'm going to change this to Opus because it's the best model and then send it. And we'll sit here and wait and wait and wait. Should I run a comparison with like Gemini and don't give it the principal file?
do you think it'll run in time? Because we only have 10 more minutes.
I think Gemini's faster, if anything.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Make a sample school dashboard. I would like to visualize this through web. Use Canvas. No, I'm going to use.
Wait, wait.
Now we wait. Let's see if our best buddy Opus gets there on time. Come on.
And the markdown file was created by AI, just documenting everything.
Yes, yes. So the markdown file, the design principle that I attached to Claude right now was made through files and articles that I attached to a chat, had to generate and write me a design principle.
Mm. Shit.
Guys, Gemini's already done.
Hey. We're
We
waiting
are
on
waiting on
Claude.
Claude.
It's better, but it's longer.
So I will, let's see.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
Opus.
I think Opus takes the longest though, but I think it is the best one.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. I could have used Sonnet.
Son?
I don't know how to pronounce that. I have Max. I pay for it. Uh, it is a good investment, I will say. I canceled my GPT subscription because it's barely usable at anything. I have Google One for Gemini because I have a Google Pixel, so it includes Gemini with it already. I don't pay for Gemini. Lovely.
Yeah.
Me too. Let me see if I
Yeah, I still have the subscription that me and Winston made me get like last year. I don't even know. It's for Pro. Exactly. It's
So, yeah, that is pretty awesome, honestly.
crazy.
So this is a sample, right? This is a sample dashboard. Ask Gemini to create whatever you can think of. Everything will look like this. Everything. Every single one of them will look like this. Yep.
hmm
Yep. Pretty much. Now, let's see this one. This is very Google-esque. Do these work? No. But we can see the colors are much nicer. The animations, the clicky things are much nicer. The dark mode, I think, looks better, and the animations are very smooth. So, to give you an example of how Material 3 Expressive looks, on a phone app, check these out. This is the design principle, practically. And that's the exact look that I was going for. And it did it very well. You see, like down here, this is another example. That's a very Google-esque design. And what we were able to achieve with Claude is also that Google look. Now, I will compare it very quickly with oh, there we go. No. Let me see if I can open this. With this one again, that is also generated by a different design principle. Come on Quad. You can see how different the colors look, how well versed everything is. Everything seems to be working. And yeah, it's a sample.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an example just for design. The back end, there isn't really a visible thing to show it, but like yeah, it's more functionality wise. And I think we can do really good with that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys don't have any questions, I believe that is all I have for you guys for today. Thank you all for joining.
Class. Thank you guys.
The virtual
Yeah.
class.
Virtual class. I love it. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. You as well.
Yeah. Thank you
Have a great
guys.
one.